Am I good? Good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to let you know we are still adding in our voting delegates to our call. We will begin shortly. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. We're just letting you know that we're still admitting voting delegates to our session. We will begin shortly. Thanks. Hi, everyone, again. To all the voting delegates, if your friends are voting delegates and they have not yet been admitted, make sure to ask them that they have entered in their name correctly. Make sure that it is their full name, and then a S for secondary or a PS/C for post-secondary collegiate, followed by your state abbreviation to allow us to enter you into the meeting. If that is not their name, you will not be entered into the meeting and not be on our official roll call. Thank you.
like correct and everything.
Just letting everyone know again, we are still in the process of admitting all of our voting delegates, but we will begin very shortly. Thank you so much for your patience. The annual business session of the Delegate Assembly for the 2020 Virtual International Leadership Conference of HOSA-Future Health Professionals will now come to order. To ensure our session runs effectively and according to Robert's Rules of Order, I am pleased to have with us the registered parliamentarian for the business session, Ms. Jane Shevlin. Thank you, Ms. Shevlin, for being here. Dev Patel, Eastern Region Vice President, has been appointed as Secretary for the business session today. Mr. Secretary, are all voting delegates present in the voting delegate meeting area?
Madam President, all voting delegates are present in the voting delegate meeting area.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Mr. Secretary, please proceed with the roll call of the Executive Council officers.
Officers, please respond by stating the duties of your office. Board Representatives Amanda Gao and Casey Cantelli.
Our duties are to represent the membership of HOSA on the HOSA Inc. Board of Directors, attend all official board meetings, participate on all conference committee calls, and serve the organization in any capacity as directed by the president.
Thank you. Vice Presidents Hiba Tanvir, Fanny Ontiveros, and Dev Patel.
It is our duty as vice presidents to encourage growth in membership and leadership, to serve on the nominating committee, and to render our services in any way possible to help achieve the goals we strive to meet in our respective regions.
Thank you. Post-secondary collegiate Vice President Colin Castor.
It is my duty to facilitate the continued growth in membership for the Post-Secondary Collegiate Division of HOSA, represent the division on the nominating committee, and serve the members as they continue their involvement in the organization through post-secondary and collegiate education.
Thank you. President-elect Jake Kelly.
My duties are to assist the president, preside in her absence, serve on the HOSA Inc. Board of Directors, succeed the president's term of office, and fulfill any other assigned responsibilities I may be asked to assume.
Thank you. Madam President Vivian Doe, your duties.
As your president, it is my duty to preside at HOSA's virtual International Leadership Conference, serve on the HOSA Inc. Board of Directors, and represent HOSA at special functions. I must see that the mission of this organization is moved forward during my tenure as president.
Thank you, Executive Council members. Madam President, all officers are accounted for and present.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. May we now have the roll call of the voting delegates.
Madam President, members had to sign in to the Zoom meeting using their full name, membership division, and state. The list has been verified and all voting delegates are accounted for.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Because HOSA's governing documents do not allow for the use of virtual meetings, any business transacted and the actions taken in the name of the organization by the voting delegates today must be ratified at the next annual meeting. This action was approved by HOSA's Executive Committee and the HOSA Inc. Board of Directors and was notified of the process. Since this is a virtual business session, please keep the following special rules in mind. Number 1, voting delegates must remain signed in to the virtual meeting using their full name, division, and abbreviated state for recognition and inclusion in the minutes. Voting delegates must also participate for the duration of the meeting. Number 2, voting delegates are responsible for their internet connection and connection to the teleconference. No action will be invalidated on the grounds that the loss of or poor quality of a member's individual connection prevented their participation in the business session, provided that at least a quorum of members was connected and the appropriate voting threshold was achieved. Number 3, the chair may cause or direct the temporary disconnection or muting of a person's connection if it is causing undue interference with the virtual meeting. The chair's decision to do so will be announced during the meeting and recorded in the minutes. Number 4, to seek recognition by the chair, a voting delegate will use his or her raise hand icon. Upon recognition, voting delegates must have a charged cell phone or tablet to use to vote. Voting will be done via the Simply Voting platform. Number 5, voting delegates should mute their microphone when not speaking to avoid interference and unintended background noise. Everyone else should remain muted unless called upon by the chair. Number 6, to seek recognition by the chair, a voting delegate will use his or her raise hand icon. Upon recognition of the member, the chair will lower all raise hand icons. Number 7, if a voting delegate would like to claim preference in recognition, the delegate may unmute their microphone and raise a point of order. Number 8, a voting delegate intending to make a main motion, offer an amendment, propose instructions to a committee, or make a motion that under the rules may interrupt a speaker will before or after being recognized, post the motion in writing to the chat window designated for everyone. Number 9, the chat window is restricted to the following purposes. A, to provide a link to a document that cannot be displayed on the screen. B, for voting information. C, for any nominations from the floor. Or D, any purpose stated in Special Rule 8. These rules will be formally moved by the Rules and Arbitration Committee at the proper time. The next item of business is the Credentials and Tellers Report. Our Central Region Vice President will present the Credentials and Tellers Committee report.
There are a total of 6,919 registered delegates for the 2020 HOSA Virtual International Leadership Conference. The number of credentialed voting delegates registered for the 2020 business session are as follows. There are 169 secondary members registered as voting delegates and 21 post-secondary collegiate members registered as voting delegates. On behalf of the Credentials and Tellers Committee, I move that the roll of registered voting delegates hereby submitted be the official roll of the voting delegates for HOSA's 2020 Virtual International Leadership Conference business session.
A motion from a committee does not require a second. The motion before the Assembly is to adopt the roll of registered voting delegates submitted by the Credentials and Tellers Committee. This will be the official roll of the voting delegates for HOSA's 2020 Virtual International Leadership Conference business session. Are there any questions for the Credentials and Tellers Committee report? Are you ready for the question? All those in favor, please vote by using the raise hand icon located at the bottom bar when you click on participants. Thank you. All those opposed, please vote by using the raise hand icon. Thank you. The affirmatives have it. The motion is adopted and the report submitted by the Credentials and Tellers Committee will be the official roll call of voting delegates at HOSA's 2020 Virtual International Leadership Conference business session. A quorum is present and we may now transact business. Hibba Tanvir, Western Region Vice President, will present the Rules and Arbitration Committee report.
Rule 1. The President shall appoint, with the approval of the Board of Directors, a parliamentarian to serve as consultant to the business session as stated in the bylaws. Rule 2. Directly following the call to order of the conference, the Credentials Committee shall report on the number of delegates and alternates registered as present with the proper credentials, the total number of persons registered for the conference, and shall make a supplementary report after the opening exercises at the beginning of each day that business continues. Rule 3. Directly following the Credentials Committee report, the chairman of the Rules and Arbitration Committee or the designee shall present the report to the conference delegates by reading the proposed rules in their entirety, regardless of any previous distribution. Rule 4. Representative delegates from a majority of the chartered associations shall constitute a quorum. Rule 5. The voting delegates shall be members selected by HOSA chartered associations. Rule 6. If an alternate is to replace a registered delegate, the Credentials Committee must approve proper evidence of that delegate's withdrawal from such status. The alternate is registered as a voting delegate and must be issued a delegate badge before he or she can sit or vote as a member of the delegate assembly. No alternate or other person can substitute for a delegate who remains registered. Rule 7. Only registered voting delegates shall be entitled to make motions, debate, and vote. Rule 8. All HOSA registered conference attendees may observe proceedings without vote. Rule 9. Any person who is a guest or observer at the business session has no voting privilege. The chair has the power to request these persons to leave the meeting or to order their removal at any time during the meeting. A non-delegate has no right to appeal such an order from the chair. Rule 10. All original main motions and amendments must be submitted on a request for agenda time form by email to the Credentials Committee by 8:30 p.m. the evening prior to the business session in which the delegate would like the motion considered. Only approved request for agenda time forms by the Credentials Committee to the voting delegates for their consideration and action. The reason for initiating this process is to enable the voting delegates to effectively use the limited time available to conduct the necessary business at hand and to avoid the possibility of spending time on subjects that are of interest to only one chartered association. Rule 11. Voting delegates shall speak in debate no more than twice to a question without the consent of the delegate assembly. Rule 12. Voting delegates shall speak in debate the second time to a question only when all other delegates who wish to speak have spoken once to the same question. Rule 13. Debate shall be limited to 2 minutes per person. Extension of time may be granted by a 2/3 vote of the delegate assembly present and voting. Rule 14. Each voting delegate joining the meeting will be expected to respect fellow delegates while they are in debate over a question or while they have the floor. Rule 15. Notices for announcements to the meeting shall be in writing, signed by the person or proper representative of the person under whose authority the announcement is issued and shall be presented to the president. Rule 16. Any person who attends the meeting shall conduct oneself in such a manner as to be accredited to the HOSA organization. Any person not displaying exemplary behavior shall be subjected to removal by order of the presiding officer. Rule 17. The rules of order for this annual HOSA conference shall be those as stated in the adopted conference rules and any special rules otherwise adopted. The rules contained in the current edition of Robert's Rules of Order newly revised shall govern this conference in all cases to which they are applicable and in which they are not inconsistent with these conference rules or any special rules otherwise adopted. Rule 18. If it is necessary to take a vote to amend or rescind an individual conference rule after its adoption, the vote for its adoption will require a 2/3 vote by the delegate assembly present and voting. By the direction of the Rules and Arbitration Committee, I move the adoption of HOSA's 2020 virtual conference rules.
Since the motion is from a committee, a second is not required. Are you ready for the question? The question before the Assembly is the adoption of HOSA's 2020 virtual conference rules as read. This motion requires a 2/3 vote. We will again use the raise hand icon to vote. All those in favor, please use the raise hand icon now. Thank you. All those opposed, please use the raise hand icon. We have just lowered all the hands. Can all those opposed please use the raise hand icon again? Thank you. Thank you. With a 2/3 in the affirmative, HOSA's 2020 conference rules are adopted as read. The chair now recognizes the chairman of the Rules and Arbitration Committee.
Due to the unique nature of holding this business session by electronic means, the special rules previously reviewed by the chair in the informal meeting orientation are proposed by the Rules and Arbitration Committee to conduct this delegate assembly. Here are the special rules for virtual meetings. Rule 1. Voting delegates must remain signed in to the virtual meeting using their full name, division, and abbreviated state for recognition and inclusion in the minutes. Voting delegates must also participate for the duration of the meeting. Rule 2. Voting delegates are responsible for their connection to the internet and teleconference. No action will be invalidated on the grounds that the loss of or poor quality of a member's individual connection prevented their participation in the business session, provided that at least a quorum of members was connected and the appropriate voting threshold was achieved. Rule 3. Voting delegates must have a charged cell phone or tablet to use to vote. Voting will be done via the Simply Voting platform as demonstrated during orientation. Rule 4. Voting delegates should mute their microphone when not speaking in order to avoid interference and unintended background noise. Everyone else should remain muted unless called upon by the chair. Rule 5. The chair may cause or direct the temporary disconnection or muting of a person's connection if it is causing undue interference with the virtual meeting. The chair's decision to do so will be announced during the meeting and recorded in the minutes. Rule 6. To seek recognition by the chair, a voting delegate will use his or her raise hand icon. Upon recognition of a member, the chair will lower all raise hand icons. Rule 7. If a voting delegate would like to claim preference in recognition, the delegate may unmute their microphone and raise a point of order. Rule 8. A voting delegate intending to make a main motion, offer an amendment, propose instructions to a committee, or make a motion that under the rules may interrupt a speaker will, before or after being recognized, post the motion in writing to the chat window designated for everyone. Rule 9. The chat window is restricted to the following purposes. A, to provide a link to a document that cannot be displayed on the screen. B, for voting information. C, any nominations from the floor. And D, any purpose stated in special rule number 8. By the direction of the Rules and Arbitration Committee, I move the adoption of the special rules for virtual meetings.
Since the motion is from a committee, a second is not required. Are you ready for the question? The question before the Assembly is the adoption of the special rules for electronic meetings. This motion requires a 2/3 vote. We will again use the raise hand icon to vote. All those in favor, please use the raise hand icon now. Thank you. All those opposed, please use the raise hand icon. Thank you. With 2/3 of the delegates voting in the affirmative, HOSA's 2020 special rules for electronic meetings are adopted as read. The agenda for today's meetings was included in your voting delegate packet. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. Please welcome Ms. Dana Stringer, the chair-elect of HOSA Inc. Board of Directors, who will give the bylaws and policy report.
Thank you, Vivian. At the HOSA Inc. Board of Directors official board meeting on Saturday, January 11th, 2020, in Las Colinas, Texas, there were no motions passed regarding amendments to the HOSA bylaws that require a motion to be brought before the HOSA Delegate Assembly at this time. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Madam Chair-elect. Jake Kelly, HOSA President-elect, will now present the 2020 Nominating Committee report.
The nominating committee met and interviewed all qualified candidates, and we are proud to present the following candidates who have all met requirements in accordance to Article 4, Section 6 of the HOSA bylaws. The candidates for secondary board representative are Jennifer Okolo and Michael Musangu. The candidates for post-secondary collegiate board representative are Aaron Castillo, Landon Ford, Aditya Shete, Edward Torres-Castavilla, Edgar Zamorano Morales. The candidates for post-secondary collegiate vice president are Christopher Asparas, Marin Dawson, Emily Hathcock, and Noel Michelle. The candidates for Western Region vice president are Shreya Shrestha and Studi Jain. The candidates for Central Region vice president are Hannah Eckstein, Addison Sorensen, William Spanier, and Madeline Urema. The candidates for Eastern Region Vice President are Cassidy Coggins, Alikia Kondragunta, Akash Kodian, and LJ Passion. And finally, the candidates for President-elect are Shelby Schwall, Rachel Shepard, and Sharicharan Pusala.
Thank you, Jake, for the nominating committee's report. Delegates, you have heard the nominating committee's report, which recommends a slate of candidates for the Executive Council. According to the HOSA bylaws, Article 4, Section 6, the nominating committee shall interview qualified candidates and shall nominate no more than 5 candidates for each secondary and post-secondary collegiate office. Candidates may also be nominated from the floor if they have met the qualifying requirements. Are there any nominations from the floor for the office of President-elect? Hearing no further nominations for the office of President-elect, nominations are closed. Are there any nominations for Eastern Region Vice President? Hearing no further nominations for the office of Eastern Region Vice President, nominations are closed. Are there any nominations for Central Region Vice President? Hearing no further nominations for Central Region Vice President, nominations are closed. Are there any nominations for Western Region Vice President? Hearing no further nominations for the office of Western Region Vice President, nominations are closed. Are there any nominations for post-secondary collegiate vice president? Hearing no further nominations for the office of post-secondary collegiate vice president, nominations are closed. Are there any nominations for secondary board representative? Hearing no further nominations for the office of secondary board representative, nominations are closed. Are there any nominations for post-secondary collegiate board representative? Hearing no further nominations for the office of post-secondary collegiate board representative, nominations are closed. Hearing no further nominations, nominations are closed for the 2020-2021 HOSA Executive Council. Before we begin the new business, may I remind the voting delegates of the conference rules regarding debate on a motion. Voting delegates shall speak in debate no more than twice to a question without the consent of the delegate assembly. Voting delegates shall speak in debate the second time to a question only when all other delegates who wish to speak have spoken once to the same question. Debate shall be limited to 2 minutes per person. Extension of time may be granted by a 2/3 vote of the delegate assembly present and voting. It is expected that each voting delegate at the conference be respectful to fellow delegates while they are in debate over a question or while they have the floor. I now open the floor for the transaction of new business. Delegates, you have previously heard the nominating committee's report. The voting process will take place immediately following the campaign speeches. We will now begin the campaign speeches. Candidates have submitted a 2-minute campaign speech video for viewing. I will announce the candidate's name prior to each video. We will now proceed with the presentation of the secondary board representative candidates. Michael Musangu.
Hello everyone, I'm Michael from Oregon HOSA, and I'd like to take some time to mention why I'd like to be on your next executive council and how HOSA has had such a major impact on my life. Now, imagine that you're in a store and you're looking for a new pair of sneakers, and you find one that captures your eye. You take it off the shelf and you try the shoe on, and it fits perfectly. You see, that's exactly what HOSA was like for me. A perfect fit. It was at the 2018 ILC, and I was attending a public health and military workshop. And my passion for public health was ignited at that international leadership conference, ultimately realizing that HOSA can help me gain the leadership, technical, and knowledge abilities to become the best public health physician I aspire to be. Now, there are two main reasons as to why I'd like to be on your executive council. First, I would like to help all HOSA members achieve their perfect fit experience. You see, being part of an organization and partaking in its activities is great, but the second part of this is understanding that this organization can help you define your career path, and you can hone in these experiences to achieve the career goals you desire. Secondly, I would like to help the smaller associations become more active in HOSA. You see, HOSA is one big team, and all the state associations are members of this team. Now, if we can help the smaller state associations gain more members and more opportunities to help their members thrive, we can become a stronger, more effective organization as a whole. Now, let me conclude by saying that 2020 is a year that many people would like to forget. But let us not forget that 2020 is an unprecedented time that the next executive council and the subsequent executive councils will have to go through. The decision is now yours. I ask that you use your voice and make the right choice. Thank you.
Next, Jennifer Okolo.
Picture this. Your heart's racing, the clock's ticking. You're fumbling through your guidelines as you desperately try to find your competition center. Sound familiar? Luckily, your GPS probably came to the rescue. But what if I told you you had your own unique GPS, different from anyone around you? Just like the GPS in your car, we all have an internal GPS that guides us towards our purpose, our gifts, passions, and service. When our gifts, passions, and service intersect, that is where you are meant to make an impact. To be more impactful, we must see our potential, but potential will stay just that, potential, until our actions become intentional. Start that fundraiser, try new competitive events. When we all utilize our unique GPSs to navigate through our HOSA experiences, we will undoubtedly ignite and inspire change in our communities. Let your fellow HOSA members inspire you to learn and innovate as you head towards your final destination, your purpose. As your international officer, I want to empower you in this pursuit as I seek innovative initiatives with health organizations, informative monthly HOSA live streams, and engaging virtual chapter outreach programs. With the help of my own GPS, I've been able to embody the skills of innovation and dedication as I've been an avid HOSA competitor, dedicated officer, and selfless volunteer. The one thing I want you to remember me by today is a compass, because as your international officer, I will guide you to make an impact, be intentional, and inspire change. Your HOSA journey awaits, and I know your gifts, passions, and service will guide you towards unimaginable success. My name is Jennifer Okolo, and I'd be honored to serve on your next Executive Council.
Thank you, candidates. For the office of Post-Secondary Collegiate Board Representative, Aaron Castillo.
1,839 miles. That's the distance between my hometown in Texas and the city where I attend college, Providence, Rhode Island. In moving so far, I was confident I would know absolutely no one. However, one of my first days on campus, another student approached me and asked, "You were a state officer for Texas HOSA, right?" I said yes and thought to myself, did she see me trip on stage? Was she there when I lost my voice, or worse, did she see me panicking in a holding room? She obviously didn't say these things, but she did say that we competed alongside each other in healthcare display at both the state and international levels. I was astonished that I had met someone I had seen and stood next to so many times before, this far away from home, and she's actually one of my best friends at Brown today. However, my story is not unique and shows how our HOSA family doesn't stop once you leave high school or college, but continues for the rest of your life. My name is Aaron Castillo, and I'm running to be a part of our HOSA family as your next Executive Council member. When I was deciding where to attend college, I was lost. I had no clue what I was doing and was constantly asking people for their thoughts and opinions. However, it was my HOSA family who truly helped me decide. From my state officer team to my HOSA advisor, they all encouraged me to pursue my dreams and not let fear stand in my way. If elected, I want to provide the same support for all HOSA members by encouraging them to take risks, step outside their comfort zone, and pursue their dreams. In addition, in having a leadership role in both Texas, the largest state association, and Rhode Island, one of the smallest, I've seen how HOSA members have similar experiences no matter the location. As an executive council member, I want to encourage members to continue to have these experiences in places they never would have expected. As the saying goes, once a HOSA member, always a HOSA member. I want to continue to hold this motto true and hope that you choose me, Aaron Castillo, to be a part of our HOSA family. Thank you.
Next, Landon Ford.
When I first decided to run for an executive council position, I had no idea what my life had in store for me in a couple short months. As I give this speech to you, I'm currently in Nashville, Tennessee, where my dad is at Vanderbilt Hospital. 3 weeks ago today, my dad went in for open heart surgery and has been in critical condition ever since. In these 3 weeks, I've had a lot of time to reflect on myself and my future. During this time, I've seen the true dedication of healthcare workers, from the nurses to the doctors and surgeons to even the hospital administrators. I've seen everything that HOSA has already instilled into me. I've witnessed impeccable skills, boldness, determination, and above anything else, empathy. When asked what makes a true healthcare professional, my answer is someone who allows empathy to guide their every decision. As an executive council officer, I want to encourage each of you to discover your own spark of what HOSA means to you. We're each so attracted to this field because we are passionate about helping others. I believe in this organization because I know the person that I've been transformed into because of it. From the leadership trainings to meeting so many incredible, like-minded HOSA members, I have continuously seen the incredible work of HOSA. As an executive officer, I will work diligently to increase membership in order to give every aspiring healthcare professional a chance to have a firm foundation that only HOSA can provide. I will advocate for career and technical education, increase our middle school and post-secondary chapters, and ensure that all HOSA members are provided with the best opportunities possible. Though we all have found ourselves in times of hardships, especially in the last few months, one thing will always remain true. We, as future health professionals, will persevere and continuously strive for a better tomorrow. My only hope is that you entrust in me to help you pave your own pathway to success. My name is Landon Ford, and I'm running for your 2020 HOSA Executive Council.
Next, we have Aditya Chate.
Hi all, I'm Aditya Chate, and I hope this finds you well. If I'm being honest, I've had a lot of time on my hands recently. It's made me think of the things that have been happening around us. It's made me think of the things that continue to impact each and every one of us. Who we are, the punches that we have all faced, what empowers us to change, to act, and to hope. Mike Tyson openly reminds us that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. We are not characterized by what happens to us. We cannot dictate the cards that we have been dealt, but the one thing we can control is how we face our punches, how we act in the face of adversity, and how we respond when confronted with difficulty. And at the end of the day, that's all we can do. That's all we can hope for. As future health professionals, we must hold true to the ideals that govern our drive and passion, and always remember the personal stories and experiences that fuel us and move us forward, all while remembering and learning from the punches we have faced. As HOSA members, we must realize that we have the power. We have the power to get up after facing our punches. We have the power to reflect on why each and every one of us is here. And we have the power to make an impact. So HOSA, let's make that impact together and never stop bringing both HOSA and the ever-changing field of healthcare towards a better tomorrow. Thank you.
Next, we have Edward Todoresca Stavila.
Learn, lead, serve, innovate. These are the core values, the heart of HOSA, if you will, that define HOSA's endeavor to empower students like us to become future health professionals. Hi, I'm Edward Todoresca Stavila, and I'm running for a chance to strengthen the heart of HOSA through servant leadership on your next Executive Council. Through HOSA, I've learned to constantly apply an attitude of servant leadership to every situation, whether it be raising awareness and money for the HOSA Service Project, creating career and education opportunities for our members, or solving the unique challenges every HOSA member faces. HOSA is a journey, not a destination, and I define my HOSA journey by how effectively I serve you. My time as a Missouri HOSA state officer has allowed me to take part in chartering Missouri's first collegiate HOSA chapters, passing new association bylaws, and hosting our first competitive events workshop. Every step along the way of my journey, I've sought to constantly serve our members in innovating ways. As a candidate for your Executive Council, however, I have a threefold vision for HOSA's future. First, I will provide even greater support for all chartered associations and local chapters across the divisions through physical visits, brainstorming video calls, and more. Second, I will focus on creating exciting opportunities to develop your own servant leadership beyond just ILC and WLA, whether it be through online events, social media challenges, or otherwise. Finally, I want to expand our international outreach, not only by strengthening HOSA's presence and success in Puerto Rico, China, and Canada, but also by meeting the needs of global health in other nations. All in all, I want to translate my track record of success with Missouri HOSA and my vision for HOSA into a reality at the international level for all members. As Lao Tzu once said, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step. Let's begin a new, servant leadership-focused journey towards tomorrow today by taking the first step in voting for Edward for your HOSA Executive Council.
Finally, we have Edgar Zamorano Morales.
Hey HOSA, my name is Edgar Zamorano and I am a member of South Carolina HOSA. As future health professionals, we get asked why. Why do you want to be a part of the healthcare field? Sometimes we can't come up with an answer. Other times you say, because my mom is one, or because I want to help others. Personally, I grew up in a country where good healthcare was not an option for everyone. I grew up watching family and friends die because they didn't receive the healthcare that they deserved. I grew up thinking that a career was not something that I could aspire to. Coming to the US, I was given opportunities to explore different careers, and one of those opportunities was joining HOSA. I had found a family that inspired and motivated me to become better. Through everything that HOSA has given me, I have finally found my answer. I want to be a part of the medical field because I want to make others feel comfortable, listened to, and cared for. I have seen and lived through healthcare done wrong, and I want to see healthcare done right. This organization and the family that I have formed have led me to where I am today. If you elect me to be a part of your next Executive Council, I will make it my mission to allow every member to have the same experience and impact that this organization has had on me. I want all members to find their path through this organization, and I want to expand the post-secondary chapter because college is sometimes even more confusing. If you would like me to be a part of your next executive council, I would do everything to help you have the best experience with this organization that you can have. Let me be a part of your journey, and let's strive towards tomorrow together.
Thank you, candidates. Now for the office of Western Region Vice President, Secondary Division, Studi Jane.
Think back to your first couple of weeks of freshman year in high school. Remember how nervous you were trying to navigate those hallways? Now imagine quietly trying to find your way to lunch and a senior jumping out and practically screaming at you. That's exactly how I joined HOSA. The then HOSA president, wearing what looked like an old mad scientist costume, had jumped from his spot along the hallway and yelled at me to join HOSA while shoving a flyer in my hands. Hello, voting delegates. Thank you for your service in this process. My name is Studi Jane. I'm a rising senior at Newport High School in the great state of Washington, and I want to serve you on the next HOSA Executive Council. In my eyes, there are 3 pillars of HOSA: community, voice, and growth. I've been a HOSA member, a school HOSA officer, and a state officer. And throughout these roles, I've had the privilege of seeing HOSA through different lenses. But at its core, HOSA is a community of people from all backgrounds sharing the same 2 goals: to grow our passion for medicine and to grow as people. I've stayed dedicated to this organization not only because of my love for the health sciences, but because of what HOSA gives to each one of its members: a voice. Your voice as a member is valued and acts as a catalyst to the growth of HOSA. I would like to see more avenues for HOSA members to be able to use their voices and to be heard by the leaders of HOSA, whether that be through promoting more social media member highlights or attending member meetings. HOSA has profound influence, but it also has potential for more growth. When I envision tomorrow's HOSA, I see an expanding community of people from all around the world. We as members don't just learn from studying for our competitive events. We learn from each other. HOSA is a platform for people to share their experiences, and its growth is vital to promoting more learning. At the end of that first HOSA meeting, I asked my president why he didn't just put up flyers like everyone else. He said that the conventional wasn't working because our chapter wasn't growing. I want to push HOSA towards tomorrow and towards reaching its fullest potential, no matter how unconventional the methods required to get it there. Thank you for supporting me, Studi Jane, to serve you on the next HOSA Executive Council.
And finally, Shreya Shrestha.
It's hard to advocate for myself in times like these, when there are greater causes to fight for. Social justice, climate change, healthcare reforms, the list goes on and on. So today, I'm not advocating for myself. I'm advocating for community. A community of passionate individuals that unites today becomes the change tomorrow. If I am elected onto the Executive Council, I, Shreya Shrestha, will dedicate myself to strengthening our own HOSA community, because we're the future and we're stronger together. I intend to reinforce the relationships between members on all levels of HOSA through things like social media and video conferencing. I will push for more communication between the Executive Council and state officers as a network for support and assistance. I will push for more virtual events that allow state officers to interact and bond with each other, creating an avenue for the free flow of inspiration and collaboration. I will push for more workshops that engage local members in critical discussions about healthcare in the community, broadening our perspectives of the wider world. HOSA's end goal is to give us the tools that we need to succeed in healthcare. And one such tool, often overlooked, is the ability to build meaningful relationships with the people around us and rely on that community to help us become better people. You are not alone in your HOSA journey. We are all part of something much bigger than ourselves, and that makes us capable of things much bigger than ourselves. HOSA gave me family, and I want that family to grow. So a vote for Shreya is not just a vote for me. It's a vote for our community. Stronger together. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. Now for the office of Central Region Vice President, Secondary Division, Hannah Eckstein.
Hello, HOSA. It's me, Hannah Eckstein, If you're watching this, I have passed my exam and survived my interview with the nominating committee. I now stand before you as a candidate for the 2020-2021 HOSA Executive Council. As a voting delegate, you have a pretty difficult decision to make. I mean, right now, you're watching the videos of multiple talented future health professionals, many of whom are beyond qualified. But in this speech, I will be proving to you that I am one of those qualified candidates by answering one simple question. What is HOSA? Now, if you were asked this question on the street by a stranger, you would probably mention how HOSA is a CTSO dedicated to serving future health professionals. But I know for me, and for all of you watching, HOSA is more than that. For me, the first word that comes to mind when I think of HOSA is growth. Growth within myself, within my peers, and within HOSA. When I founded my local chapter at my school, I didn't know what my journey entailed or where it would take me. I didn't know that as Kansas State president, I would be able to witness firsthand my fellow students growing through successes and challenges. I didn't know I would be standing before you today, asking for your vote. Upon being elected to the Executive Council, I would focus on growth in three main areas. 1, local chapter membership. 2, knowledge of monetary initiatives to offset the cost of conferences. And 3, relationships between diverse local and state chapters to find solutions to the obstacles we all face. Voting delegates. HOSA means something different to all of us, but we can agree on one thing. We all want to see HOSA grow. So I'm asking for your vote for the 2020-2021 HOSA Executive Council. Vote for Hannah Eckstein. Vote for growth. Thank you.
Next, Addison Sorensen.
Hello, HOSA. I'm Addison Sorensen, Oklahoma HOSA State Chaplain, and I'm excited for the opportunity to serve on your next HOSA National Executive Council. Growing up as the youngest in a family of 9, I struggled to find my voice. At 8 years old, I thought being right meant being the loudest in the room. Boy, was I wrong. I was in 2nd grade standing up for my friends against 5th grade bullies, which didn't turn out so great. As I grew up, my voice grew louder and louder as I experienced what real life was all about. Fast forward to 2 years ago, my junior year of high school, I discovered HOSA and found my true voice, a voice of service. Through HOSA, I learned that my voice was growing, my voice was getting louder, and my voice was being heard. I consider myself a trailblazer, someone who no matter what will accomplish a task and will inspire and support others while doing it. My job is not to be the best of HOSA. My job is simply to lead the best of HOSA. I understand that everyone is someone, and everyone has their own unique voice. Knowing this, I can assure you that if allowed, my time in Executive Council will be filled with conversations with you, and I will speak for the unspoken. For the past 44 years, HOSA has given a voice to those in the healthcare profession. I want to promote personal growth and development of our members, schools, communities, states, and our world. We must make it our goal to reach past the limit of our own surroundings and reach an audience that may otherwise be overlooked. This is why the message of HOSA is so important. I've heard it said that great people are those who make others feel that they too can become great. HOSA members and advisors, thank you for making me feel as if I too can become great. Please allow me to do the same as your next National Executive Council member. I am Addison Sorensen, and with your help, I will ensure that our voice will grow, our voice will be loud, and our voice will be heard. Thank you.
Now we have William Spanier.
Hello, HOSA. My name is William Spanier, and I'm from Madison, Alabama, home to the U.S. Space and Rocket Center and the Army's Redstone Arsenal. Working together, these two agencies helped America put our astronauts on the moon, and we recently celebrated the 50th anniversary of the first moon landing in July 2019. Now, one may ask, what does rocket science have to do with healthcare and HOSA? I'm here to tell you that both fields are comprised of driven individuals, people who regularly face adversity and journey into the unknown. Simply put, with great risk comes great reward, and like them, HOSA members can rise to the challenge and accomplish great things. To accomplish our goals, we need to work harder and think smarter. In the words of late President John F. Kennedy, we chose to go to the moon not because it was easy, but because it was hard. If you ever heard our late president speak on this, once you do, like many, You may especially remember it for his Boston accent and that choosing to put a man on the moon was high. I think it's important to remember that and to strive to succeed in the face of difficulty because many times therein lies the greatest reward. Even today, it is still a daunting task to send astronauts into space. As incredible as that is, it's also incredible to witness the dedication of healthcare workers to serving their communities. As we are experiencing a global pandemic like no other, I'm confident healthcare professionals the world over will come together to battle COVID-19 and emerge victorious. Our role is a world that unites, pursuing advances in not just the field of medicine, but in compassion. Although many of us weren't able to have in-person conferences, our HOSA community, like the world, is adapting to adversity, and we are able to create something totally unique and amazing. It is this tenacity, perseverance, and camaraderie that make me so proud to call myself a member of this extraordinary organization. If elected to the HOSA Executive Council, I look forward to encouraging HOSA members to especially seek out those things that are hard and to be an active member of this group, a group which seeks to accomplish great things. With your support, that's exactly what we'll do. Again, my name is William Spanier, I'm from Madison, Alabama, and I'm asking for your vote to be a member of your 2020-2021 HOSA Executive Council. Thank you.
And finally, we have Madeline Urema.
Hi everyone. Although I can't meet you all in person, I wanted to thank you all for taking your time to better this organization as a whole and to elect the new members. My name is Madeline Urema, and I would be honored to serve on your executive council for the upcoming term. I wanted to change things up a bit and play a little game with you guys, so I invite you all to join along to Put a Finger Down HOSA edition. Put a finger down if you've met a wonderful friend through HOSA. Through HOSA, I've had the opportunity to meet people from Puerto Rico, China, and all over the US that have become some of my best friends. Put a finger down if you've had a memorable moment. I've had the opportunity to meet the US Surgeon General, pin trade with people from all over the world, attend the Washington Leadership Academy, and serve the great state of Michigan on their state officer team. None of this would have been possible without HOSA. Put a finger down if you found a second family. Not only was my state officer team a second family, but also having the ability to mentor my middle school chapter was a great thing that was equally rewarding. Put a finger down if you've went above and beyond through HOSA. Whether it's a voting delegate, officer position, or even just one of the adults sitting in the room today, you've all made an impact on HOSA and made this organization as great as it is today. Put a finger down if you wish that you had more time in the organization. Although I've been a part of HOSA for 4 years and I have the opportunity to make it 5 during my upcoming senior year, I wish that I had 4 more years. Like everyone else, I hope that you have all of your fingers down because that's just how impactful this organization is. I want to thank you all for your time, and don't forget, my name is Madeline Urema.
Thank you, candidates. Now for the office of Eastern Region Vice President, Secondary Division. Cassidy Coggins.
Have hope, have faith, and repeat. A motto each and every one of us can live by. Words that unite us all. Each of us come from different places and different backgrounds. We have different goals, different dreams, different views of life and what that entails. But one thing we all share, one thing that drives each and every one of us is hope. Hope for and faith in a better future, a better tomorrow. For all of us, HOSA has been a huge part of that tomorrow, helping us achieve our goals, allowing us to showcase our talents. At the end of the day, we are a community we count on, no matter where the road may take us. For me, that road was at times both literal and figurative, traveling far distances from rural North Carolina, the place I call home, to attend different events and conferences. You see, back home, we try to bring the best out of those we love. We drive others to succeed and follow where their dreams take them. It's made me think of the countless times that within HOSA, within our HOSA family, we've relied on each other, leaned on each other, learned from each other. Through these trying times, we must have hope in each other, have faith in what unifies us, and continue to experience our individual journeys together as one. I'm Cassidy Coggins, and it would be an honor to serve you.
Next, we have Alicia Contragunta.
Thank you. My name is Alicia Contragunta, and I am proud to be an Executive Council candidate. We are at a defining moment in time. The healthcare industry is facing one of its greatest challenges today, and as future healthcare professionals, this is our opportunity to be a part of the solution. As I look towards tomorrow, our future, and the impact we make by learning, leading, serving, and innovating matters now more than ever before. HOSA members, our challenge is to take the lead and innovate. When we innovate, we create new possibilities for our members. I believe we can and must innovate virtually to provide leadership skills for every member. Imagine a leadership workshop empowering all of our 250,000 members to reach their fullest potential. Dr. Anthony Fauci said that leaders have a personal responsibility to make a positive impact in society. As servant leaders, this is our defining time to take advantage of the opportunity to make a positive impact. As a servant leader, I shared HOSA's core values with school administrators and collaborated with the Donate Life organization to raise awareness for organ and tissue donation. I look forward to sharing my strengths of innovation, collaboration, and teamwork to serve as a member of the Executive Council team. With your vote and support, we can continue to build the momentum and enthusiasm of HOSA-Future health professionals in our communities, states, and internationally as we lead towards tomorrow. Again, my name is Alicia Contragunta, and I ask for your vote to serve as a member of the Executive Council. Thank you.
Next, we have Akash Kodian.
It was a beautiful summer day when I embarked on my first water rafting experience with my friends. But within half an hour, it started to pour. Water beating down on us from above and the currents beneath us going wild. Out of crazed fear, someone yelled, "Lightning!" and chaos ensued. The boat flipped over and we were all in raging water. We all thought we were going to die. Some of us actually crying for their mommy. Not me, of course. Definitely not me. Yet somehow we managed to reach safety. And in the end, we learned two very important lessons. The power of communication can literally change lives and to make the best of every situation. One random scream about lightning set in motion one of the scariest moments in my life. As an officer, I want to be a positive catalyst, linking the Executive Council and charter associations through the use of state president group meet chats. These chats would create an environment for collective progress by allowing states to learn from one another. Growing the middle school division is a prime example. Instead of separately tackling it, let's work together strategically. After the boat flipped over, we had two choices. Give up all hope and float away, or muster the strength to get out of the river. I always strive to go beyond the bare minimum of what is expected, rolling with the punches and adding my own twist to the conventional. Because it's not just about surviving, but thriving and actually enjoying the journey. In HOSA, every individual that sets sail on their journey has the chance to take a hold of their destiny, no matter how rocky the waves get. Remember, we can't control the waves, but we can control how we react to them. So let's ride the tide together and vote Akash Kodian for the HOSA Executive Council. Thank you.
And finally, we have LJ Passion.
Good afternoon, HOSA. My name is LJ Passion, and I'm hoping to serve on the HOSA Executive Council. With a name as unique as LJ, people always ask me what it stands for. I've gone a handful of guesses, but my three favorites are Laura Jean, Lil Jon, and LeBron James. First, Laura Jean, the main character of To All the Boys I've Loved Before. As an officer, I aspire to embody her openness and compassion to build meaningful connections with members. Similar to the movie, HOSA's social media is the box that holds our letters. But instead of keeping it tucked away, I want to send the letters to give you a closer look into the activities of the Executive Council. My goal is to bring the HOSA experience beyond the conferences by leveraging the power of creativity. Secondly, the rapper Lil Jon is most commonly known for his iconic ad-libs, such as okay, what, and yeah. Although a man of few words, okay symbolizes a willingness to serve. What represents his curiosity, and yeah emphasizes his passion. Similarly, I intend to be a servant leader, an inquisitive student, and the HOSA hype woman during my term. And lastly, LeBron James, the GOAT himself. What sets LeBron apart is his strong sense of camaraderie. He says, no matter how good one individual is, it takes a whole team to win a championship. There are no bench warmers in HOSA. We must move towards tomorrow together. That means you, me, and our alumni. I hope to introduce a new mentorship program to engage alumni in guiding current HOSA members through the world of healthcare. We will only know true success once we tap into all of our resources. But at the end of the day, LJ isn't short for anything, and neither is HOSA. Nonetheless, one meaning rings true. We stand for our members, and we represent one HOSA.
Thank you, candidates. Now for the office of Post-Secondary Collegiate Vice President, Christopher Aspires.
The best way for me to look towards tomorrow is to go back, reminisce on the past, and move on in the present. I didn't know who I was back in high school, and I want to be able to tell my past self this. Hey, Chris. How are you? Bet. You're saying I'm dead. But how are you dead? I'm alive and I'm making this video. I just wanted to check in with you. So, who are you? You are Christopher Aspires. You are me. I'm a person who doesn't have any regrets, willing to take risks, and a person who will find their balance in life. That's who you are too. If you don't believe me, just stay the way you are. You'll see for yourself. If you think life gets any easier, you funny because your boy struggled even more, but I grew from those experiences. I'm not trying to scare you, but you should know, despite everything, look towards tomorrow. I know you aren't confident in yourself, Chris, but you will be. Isn't there a HOSA chapter at your high school? Join! There are so many people who helped me and are willing to help you. They will help you find you. Literally to think I started my own chapter in college, became state officer, and look at me now. I'm running to be part of the Executive Council. If you think I made it this far alone, you're wrong. HOSA gave me the opportunity to make lifelong friends I have now, who taught me not only how to be a future health professional, but how to be a leader and appreciate life. I found my balance, and I want to help others find their balance. I want to be part of the Executive Council for that reason. So, who are you? Chris, just look towards tomorrow, and you'll find your answer. Love, Chris.
And now for Marin Dawson.
Hi, my name is Marin Dawson, and I'm running to be on HOSA's Executive Council. One day when I was scrolling through TikTok, I found someone claiming that this is the year we finally get the 104 days of summer vacation that Phineas and Ferb always talked about. But instead of climbing the Eiffel Tower or giving a monkey a shower, we have the opportunity to use these 104 days of summer vacation to grow and expand HOSA. So here is my version of their song. There's 104 days of summer vacation till school comes and we get more HOSA. So the challenge for this year's Executive Council is helping you get the most of more HOSA, serving our cities and teaching each other and connecting through pandemic gloom. Increasing passion for health science careers and connecting to members through Zoom. Our HOSA journeys began when we turned in that first membership application. Your experiences with HOSA likely include making new friends at your first social or competing at your first state leadership conference. Regardless, what we've learned along the way and the memories we've made will last a lifetime. But there are still millions of aspiring healthcare students around the world who may not know what HOSA is or have a chapter at their school. That is why last summer I began efforts to start a HOSA chapter at my university. And 2020 is our year to spread HOSA even further. Our time is now to give the opportunity for chapters to be more involved and students to have even more HOSA experiences. We've proven that even with a global pandemic, we can still come together and stay safe to have an international leadership conference. This summer, let's prove that no matter how far apart we may be, HOSA can still come together to learn, lead, serve, and innovate to make an impact on healthcare. Thank you.
Now we have Emily Hathcock.
Learn, lead, serve, and innovate. Those 4 words seem so simple, yet hold so much meaning to us all. Through HOSA's core values, we've all had the opportunity to shape our own unique paths. However, looking back on my HOSA journey, I discovered 2 more very important words: patience and perseverance. During my first year in HOSA, I competed in cert skills with my partner, and we qualified for ILC. After not making it to round 2 at that ILC, however, I was just ready to come back the next year to perform better. Although that next year we wouldn't place and we wouldn't qualify for ILC, I was heartbroken. I thought to myself, how in the world could I be crying in the same place I was celebrating a year earlier? Well, since that moment, I've learned that good things take time, and that when something means the world to you and you care about something, you work your heart and soul for it, no matter how long it takes or how many trials you must endure. That's where patience and perseverance become a dynamic duo. As HOSA-Future health professionals, there are going to be many times where we face defeat or feel disheartened, but I share this with y'all in hopes that y'all understand just how resilient we are. I was watching Avatar: The Last Airbender the other night, as one may do for some happiness in 2020, and one of the characters said something that resonated with what HOSA has given me and teaches many others. Life is like this tunnel. You may not see the light at the end of the tunnel, but if you keep moving, you will come to a better place. The timing of life can be so unexpected, but we learned that the wait is just as worth as the outcome. HOSA was always there for me when I needed to be picked up back onto my feet. And now I stand before you, ready and excited to stand by each of you as you find the lights at the end of your tunnels, headed steadfast towards tomorrow. HOSA, from the bottom of my heart, thank you.
And finally, we have Noelle Michelle.
Do you remember how it felt when you met someone for the first time and you knew that they would become one of your best friends? The fuzzy feeling of growing on each other and becoming close, or even the awkward time of not even remembering each other's name. That sums up my experience with HOSA to an extent. My name is Noelle Michelle, your 2020 Executive Council candidate, and this is the story of the time I became best friends with HOSA. You know, trying to relate my friendship with this organization is quite tough as we have developed it over the years. But I can tell you that it has been amazing, funny, and full of failures. I felt so much, maybe even a little bit more than I would have thought. But that's what I love about this dear friendship. HOSA embraces these failures, these things that people see as insecurities, and turns them into a passion story. If you were to ask me 3 years ago when I lost my first campaign if I still would have been this passionate, I would have said, I'm unsure. But I knew that there was something more to this friendship, something that I couldn't let go of. So I pushed forward and I became an officer through my time in HOSA. It has been an amazing journey, and I wish to continue with you all, taking a step towards tomorrow by having the opportunity to serve you on your next Executive Council. We all deserve to experience something more from this friendship, and I wish to become a part of that story, so that all members can grasp at the vast opportunities that HOSA offers. Because each and every single person should experience this warm, fuzzy feeling, even if you're the awkward and uncomfortable friend. I'll have my hand out to become your friend, as HOSA has made a friend in me. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, this is Noel Michelle on your local HOSA channel, and this is the story of the time I became best friends with HOSA.
Thank you, candidates. And now for the office of President-elect, Sri Sharan Pusala.
Imagine a hospital with me. A hospital where service, leadership, and healthcare are the foundations for this amazing structure. A hospital where the board of directors consists of members from distinct backgrounds. A hospital where the doctors are not just molded by textbooks and scalpels, but also by the changes in their communities. This amazing hospital can only be built by us. This was a realization I had 5 years ago while I was sitting in room 610 for my first HOSA meeting. The depth of diversity I saw in that room was something I had yet to see in any of my classrooms, let alone in my social circles. HOSA fused my lifestyle with hundreds of distinctive individuals, cultures, and backgrounds. It unified us even with our immeasurable differences. This diversity is what makes us capable of accomplishing momentous feats in progressing healthcare as leaders. You and I are going to change the world. HOSA, together, let's revolutionize with SRI. Service, repeat, ignite. It would be my honor to serve you by being accessible not just at ILC or WLA, but 24/7 through social media and email for any questions, your ideas, or even just to talk. My communication channels are open and ready to listen to you. Let's repeat the success of HOSA by increasing HOSA's social media presence through healthcare updates, a member spotlight, and creating social media challenges to increase members' involvement with our service project. Lastly, let's continue to ignite a passion for quality healthcare within the youngest in HOSA, the middle school division. By creating age-specific and refined resources, we can grow HOSA from the roots. I'm Sri Sharan Pusala, and I believe that together we can bloom as future health professionals to one day build that amazing hospital. Thank you.
Now we have Shelby Schwall.
What do you think I'm going to be when I grow up? I think each of us once in our lives asked our parents that question. The response from my parents was always a lawyer. However, a couple of weeks ago, my mom and I were in the car going to the grocery store. I decided to instead ask her, "What have you always seen me doing with my life?" My mom looked at me and said, "If given the resources and the voice, you'd change the world." There is something that's the same about both those responses. Change. Whether it was being a lawyer, activist, or physician, I've always been passionate about change. And my mom's response got me thinking, what does it exactly mean to change the world? Do I have to become a world leader? Do I have to find a cure to disease? Do I have to start a movement? I finally realized to change the world is all but none of these things. To change the world is to be present. To change the world is to inspire someone. To change the world is to bond together and work towards a common goal. And HOSA, you can and you will change the world. Whether it's just changing one person's world, it could be being a role model in that person's life or saving them as a health professional. That person could be our future president, could find out a cure to a disease, or maybe discover a vaccine. But it is because of your impact that allowed them to continue their path. Let me share with you a quote by Margaret Mead. "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." Think of the world that we're in today. Millions of people, including you and I, banded together for change with Black Lives Matter. The petitions we signed, the marches we participated in, the money we raised, initiated large change. HOSA, it is your passion and motivation that will change the world. Being here, you're changing the world. That's why I'm here. I want to inspire and be inspired by all of you. I want to initiate the change with my HOSA family, because together, we change the world.
And finally, we have Rachel Shepard.
The human heart beats over 100,000 times a day, 35 million times a year, and over 2.5 billion times in a lifetime. Ken Blanchard once said that the best leaders are those who understand that their power flows through them, not from them. With all of us here today, even if it is in different circumstances. It becomes clear that HOSA has never been stronger. We have never been stronger. The field of healthcare has never been stronger. Because at heart, HOSA enables us to channel our blood, who we are, who we aspire to be, in one direction, forward. HOSA. It gives members the skills we need to survive yet thrive in the modern field of healthcare. It's at the core of hundreds of thousands of future health professionals. It branches out while connecting us with like-minded, passionate individuals to accomplish our common goals. And it moves us, towards tomorrow. It enables us to constantly keep breathing, changing, adapting. Because at the end of the day, we are one HOSA with one goal, one vision: to inspire, to empower, to move forward together. And at the heart of it all, that's why I, Rachel Shepard, am running to be on your next HOSA Executive Council. Thank you.
Thank you to the candidates for president-elect. And thank you to all candidates for your campaign speeches and for your desire to serve HOSA on the Executive Council. Delegates, this year we will also be voting on the next HOSA service project. At the Bring Your Own Breakfast session, we had the opportunity to hear firsthand from each service project nominees. We invited the nominees to the business session for a 1-minute refresher prior to the vote, as a service project is a 2-year commitment for HOSA members. We will limit each representative to 1 minute. I will hold up a card when there is 10 seconds remaining. You will be muted at the conclusion of your time. First, we are pleased to welcome Ms. Benita Davis, Community Engagement Representative from Be the Match.
Hello. Thanks again for having me. My question is, do you know somebody or have you ever known someone to battle cancer? And I'm willing to say you probably have. If someone you love had cancer, such as leukemia, and you could cure them, would you? Again, I'm pretty sure you would. And that's the opportunity you are being given today. You have the opportunity to help provide cures for so many patients. The ripples you all set into motion today will last for years to come and save countless lives. The diversity within HOSA would help Be the Match reach out to the different ethnic communities in a way that we have never been able to do so before. This will help us provide equal outcomes for all patients, no matter how diverse their ancestry is. Because of the current stay-at-home orders, you would still be able to do virtual drives and fundraising. So how about we start a huge swab party? Thank you.
Thank you. Please welcome Mr. Duncan Van Duzen, founder and CEO from Catch My Breath.
In the 1 minute I have for this summary, another 3 kids will begin vaping. That's 1.4 million new youth per year. Nicotine addiction eats into human potential, harming learning and disrupting lives with a cycle of dependence. And vaping is an on-ramp, actually maybe more like a SpaceX launch pad, to smoking. Tobacco is still the #1 cause of preventable death. 500,000 Americans die each year from it, on average 10 years prematurely. And 90% of tobacco users start before age 18. Those are your friends and your classmates and your family members. The vaping epidemic is about the future of your generation, and the best way to fight it is through the voices of your generation. A vote for Catch My Breath as HOSA's service project is a vote to empower you and your peers to seize this moment in history and stop the ravages of tobacco on your present and your future. You are the perfect people to do this, and now is the perfect time. Thank you.
Thank you. If there is a representative here for the National Pediatric Cancer Foundation, you are welcome to speak. Seeing none, we will proceed with the election process for the 2020-2021 Executive Council and vote on one of the new HOSA service projects presented to you today. We will be using an e-voting platform for HOSA's voting process. Candidate ballots have been assigned by division for each voting delegate. Secondary voting delegates will be presented with only the secondary officer candidates, president-elect and president. Post-secondary collegiate delegates will be presented with only post-secondary collegiate officer candidate positions and the offices of president-elect and president. The candidates are listed under each office alphabetically by last name. You may mark only one choice for each office. You will not be able to make more than one selection for each office. All voting delegates will be presented with all 3 HOSA Service Project nominees. After marking the ballot, please verify your selections and press submit. You have received your unique voting delegate identification and password via email. Voting delegates should log in using their unique ID and password only. Each unique ID will be allowed only one vote. Are there any questions? If so, please say so in the chat. But if you are having any technical difficulties during this process, please use your raise hand icon. I will now present each office and their names of the candidate for the office. The candidates for secondary board representative are Jennifer Akolo and Michael Musangu. The candidates for post-secondary collegiate board representative are Aaron Castillo, Landon Ford, Aditya Chate, Edward Tudoresca Stavila, Edgar Zamorano Morales. The candidates for post-secondary collegiate vice president are Christopher Aspiras, Marin Dawson, and Emily Hathcock, and Noel Michelle. Cole Lancaster has removed himself from the election. His name will remain on the ballot, but any votes for him will not be counted. Next, the candidates for Western Region Vice President are Shreya Shrestha and Studi Jain. The candidates for Central Region Vice President are Hannah Eckstein, Addison Sorensen, William Spanier, and Madeline Urema. The candidates for Eastern Region Vice President are Cassidy Coggins, Alikia Kondragunta, Akash Kodian, and LJ Passion. And finally, the candidates for President-elect are Shelby Schwall, Rachel Shepard, and Srisharan Pusala. Thank you, candidates. We wish you good luck. We will now move all candidates to the waiting room to allow voting to take place. If you are watching the business session live, we will pause the live stream for voting to take place. We will reopen the live stream once voting has been completed. Once opening back up the live stream, you may have to refresh your page to continue watching the business session, where we will announce the selected HOSA service project and the 2020-2021 HOSA Executive Council.